Today's webinar is Digital Transformation Strategies for Enterprises, Successful Stories and How to Make It Happen. We're really excited for today's webinar. We have David Aponovich, who's the Senior Director of Digital Experience here at Acquia. We also have Felipe Rubin, who's the Head of Operations and Technology at our partner CI&T, as well as Felipe Brito, who's the Business Director at CI&T. Thanks so much, Felipe and Felipe, for joining us today.
Thanks, Hannah, and thanks everybody for joining in today. We're really glad you can join us for this webinar that features Acquia and our valued partner CI&T. We're going to go through in the next few minutes a few phases of discussion here in this notion of transforming in a digital age. So we'll talk about digital transformation, and we feel it's very valuable, I think most valuable, to show what's going on out there and show through examples of how companies are actually bringing their organizations forward, transforming with digital, using technology and great strategy to benefit their customers in the age of the customer. And we're going to come up with some steps you can take away today and bring into your organization, as many of you are on this journey to transform in a digital way. We'll have some ideas that will actually make some impact inside your organizations. I'm David Aponovich, Senior Director of Digital Experience at Acquia, and in a few minutes we'll meet our friends from CI&T. First, I'll talk a little bit about digital and how it has changed everything. And I think it's one thing we can all agree that literally digital has upended the business world. It's changed everything from how we interact with brands and businesses to how we interact with friends and family. Digital represents the channels through which we live our life and through which we conduct business today. And it's amazing to see how this has gone in the past decade and really in the past several years, from a web-based, website-based paradigm to mobile and social and commerce and community, and how all of these aspects interact with our lives individually and, frankly, are propelling business forward and making this a reality. It's true that the phrase digital transformation is on the minds and on the lips of most business leaders, both in technology and in business today, certainly marketers among them. And this idea that digital transformation is real is a truth. It's something that we can all stipulate and agree to. We see organizations every day reinventing who they are and transforming to stay ahead of their markets, stay ahead of their competition, and serve and retain their customers in ways that matter to their customers most. Here at Acquia, we believe that our platform is an excellent way to drive that transformation and support that transformation, both from a technical and infrastructure standpoint. The Acquia platform is a platform on which you can build all kinds of digital transformation strategies. And frankly, implementing and using great ideas that you'll see through this presentation today will give you, I think, some motivation, not that any of you probably need it, but give you some inspiration perhaps that show how organizations are actually transforming, uniting technology and strategy and great implementation with a vision for doing this right. At Acquia, we like to think in terms of thinking ahead. I mean, the future is here today, and the future changes, frankly, very fast. It's hard to keep up, whether you're a marketer, whether you're a technologist, or whether you're somebody who's driving change across your organization. The idea of thinking ahead is really what imbues everything that we do here at Acquia. And I think our friends at CI&T will tell you some stories like that too. The idea that planning ahead isn't just about fixing a website today or building a site for today, but planning for a scalable, flexible technology platform and strategy that will get you through the next few years as things evolve, both from a web and mobile, social, or commerce perspective, and for things that you really haven't thought about or haven't planned for because, frankly, perhaps they haven't come about. We see something like the iPhone and the iPad and how fast those have transformed the mobile markets and how people interact with data and with companies and with each other. So we think thinking ahead is important. Companies who don't think ahead, frankly, end up like the two you see on your screen. These are two great examples that I like to point to of companies that didn't anticipate and, frankly, didn't take the steps they needed to get ahead of the digital transformation going on in their respective industries. Tower Records, one-time great big retailer, didn't foresee the impact of digital technologies on the music market. They're no longer. Same for Polaroid, which for many years was the definition of do-it-yourself photography. Today, the Polaroid camera is nowhere to be found, and the company is really nowhere to be found, being subsumed by the digital movement, the idea that digital is now pervasive, digital cameras in our smartphones, digital cameras in our back pockets, and the idea that a company like this that had such a hold on a market wasn't ready for the change is just a great example of how digital can come up from nowhere, and if you're not paying attention and not ready, can subsume your company. So with that as kind of a bit of a background, I'll let my peers at CI&T introduce themselves. So Felipe and Felipe?
Yes, thanks, David. Good day, everyone. I'm Felipe Rubin, Head of Operations at CI&T. I'm the Felipe on the right on the slide. I've been leading the development of content management solutions for the past 6 years now within CI&T. I currently oversee CI&T's Asia Pacific division. And prior to that, I worked as a software engineer on different Scrum teams, initially as a software developer, architect, and later as a Scrum Master and project manager.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Felipe Brito. I've been working for CI&T for almost 15 years. Came to the U.S. 5 years ago to lead global digital initiatives for 1,400 clients. And I'm very glad to be here today to talk about digital transformation with Acquia. CI&T finds an Acquia partner that values trust, commitment, technical mastery as much as we do. And at CI&T, Acquia is there not only for the good moments, celebrating new businesses, but also at critical times when our reputation is truly shaped. So I hope you enjoy what we will be discussing today, and thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, guys. And like my two friends here on the phone, I too enjoy a good conversation about content management. That's my background. For the past decade or more, I've been in the web content management space. Most recently, I joined Acquia just a few months ago, coming from Forrester Research, where I led web content management and digital experience technology research. But prior to that, I had spent a long time with digital agency, as well as a different content management vendor, so I've seen it from different perspectives. And I think that now, more than ever, we're in this mode of digital transformation that's really changing the way companies think about the technology they use and rethinking what it means to even adopt content management. No longer is it about the website. No longer is it about simply managing sites and content. Rather, today, we really think in terms much more broadly of what kind of experiences do organizations need to create to better serve and retain their customers. From Acquia's perspective, and I'm glad to be able to be at this company, to be able to tell the story of change that's going on in this market with Acquia, the idea of growing a company built on open source Drupal technologies, but by spreading this through the world to companies that are actually looking for a scalable, flexible platform in the cloud, built on open source technologies, but flexible enough to integrate with many of the systems that they already run or plan to run. Is a great power, I think, right now that's happening in this market. Just from a partner perspective, CI&T is one of our many valued partners, and you see a few of our customers here as well as some of the recognition we've been getting in this industry. But I think the growth of Acquia is really a representation of the shift in this market, the growth of cloud, the growth of open source, and changing paradigm of how companies acquire and use software, no longer needing or demanding on-premise technology, but really thinking about how they scale as a company as they move towards digital transformation and new strategies and putting their time and effort into things that matter, whether it's building great experiences, marketing, or building new digital services that serve the customer long after the marketing part is over. I think that's where we'll find, and you'll see in the examples that we talk about, how companies are actually building long-term relationships to serve the customer at the point of, say, marketing and sale, but beyond that as well. CI&T, I'll pass this to you for a moment.
Sure. CI&T stands for Collaborate, Innovate, and Transform. We are a digital maestro in complex environments, deploying discipline and technology to solve the most daunting challenge for our clients. We were born in Brazil 20 years ago and are global now with more than 1,700 talented people. The company has enjoyed solid growth, more than 32% year over year for the last 10 years, and we got several awards and recognitions throughout these years. But the one that makes us the proudest is the Great Place to Work for 9 years in a row.
Excellent, thank you. And just a couple more notes on transformation. As if anyone needs more convincing, in your organizations. I think this slide might say quite a bit about how the investment in digital technology and digital experience technology and building great experiences can benefit your organization. Certainly, we believe we're in the age of the customer, which Forrester has defined as a 20-year period through which companies will, the companies that dominate will be the companies that best serve the needs of their customers across all parts of the journey and the relationship they have. That very much includes digital. So the ability for your company to transition and pivot towards a digital future is imperative. And from a convincing perspective, there's no better evidence than how companies that have done customer experience and digital experience right, how they've benefited in terms of stock market value, which on this slide you can see that, looking at a period of history, the companies that rate highly in terms of delivering great customer experience have seen on average a much higher rate of return on their own stock performance as those companies versus those companies that don't focus or don't rate highly in terms of customer experience. So it's today assured that the investment in digital experience is mandatory, and it also pays dividends in many ways, including the value of a company. Digital experience is becoming the brand, and frankly, it's becoming the actual way that organizations are defined. And I think Uber is the greatest example currently in popular culture in the States and elsewhere that's defining what it means to be a digital-first, digital-based, digital experience type of a company. Certainly, Uber couldn't have been imagined a few years ago, but the rise of smartphones, applications like maps and geolocation, the ability for a company to build a service around something as simple as deploying cars to your location, pick you up, and drive you somewhere, has become a multi-billion-dollar business and is disrupting the taxi industry. This is built upon technology for sure, but it's built on great digital experience. And the ability for Uber to make that as seamless and easy as possible has created the value for themselves and for their customers and really defined a whole new market. Digital experience isn't always sexy, but there's some ideas that I think are great to point out that say, look, you may not be Uber, you may be an average company that does something extraordinary to make digital experience matter to your customers. And I think this is another good example. This is Geico Insurance. I like Geico Insurance and the position they hold in the market for a lot of reasons. They do great branding and they do great, they bring their product to market in a great way. One of the great ways is how they focus on digital experience. This is just a couple of screen captures from a television campaign they've been doing around doing business with Geico. And if you're a customer of Geico and you do business with them, their promise to you is you can do business very easily with them. It makes life easier to work with Geico because of their, in this case, their iPad app. If you have an accident, you pop open the iPad app, schedule an appointment for your car to get looked at and to get fixed, and you're on with your life. Typically, you wouldn't think of insurance as a hotbed for digital experience, but for sure, Geico is one of those companies that's helping to lead the way to define a new way of defining their business. I think this is just one thing that you might look at. You may not be an insurance company. You may be, though, an old line business or a typical business that may have extraordinary opportunities to find and define new ways of interacting with your customers and offering new digital experiences that matter and make them loyal and retain them as customers. Transformation takes a lot of modes and looks a lot of different ways. One of our example clients at Acquia we like to point to is BBC Good Food, based in the UK. Transformation for them meant certainly creating a much more interactive approach to their brand and to their content. Good Food, if you're not familiar with it, is a very popular and very information-rich resource for food, recipes, lifestyle content around people who love food. And if you go there, it's a great experience. It's also a great multi-channel experience. By switching and shifting to the Acquia platform, BBC Good Food has gained a lot of positive benefits in terms of growing their social media ability and increasing their visibility and sharing through social. They've also increased greatly their mobile dominance in terms of how people can access and utilize their information through mobile devices. In fact, the week they launched their revamped site on the Acquia platform in a responsive site way, they saw their mobile traffic grow a massive amount and frankly has taken over their desktop traffic. Another great example of what transformation looks like is thinking about platformification of your web properties. In this case, many companies have many site problems. They have many sites that they have to deal with. We like to think that this is a great example, too, of how transformation can impact operationally, as well as user experience, customer experience, of how you interact with a brand. And in this case, on the left, Warner Music Group, one of Acquia Platform's customers, uses the platform to power all of its artists' websites, more than 300, for each of its music artists. So using a centralized platform, they've been able to bring together all of these disparate sites on a single platform, yet enable each artist to retain a look and feel and an experience that's appropriate to the singer, appropriate to the brand, and appropriate to their audience, without having to conform to a certain style or a certain look. Similarly, on the right, Interscope Records is doing much the same thing, using this as a platform for building many sites and to serve the many site problem. Same type of thing, centralizing a platform, yet giving autonomy to their individualized brands for their artists to do what they want on the web. And finally, there's a few other ways transformation surfaces and how it looks to different organizations. To some organizations, prioritizing cost savings is a massive driver to adopting a new platform. In this case, Georgia, the state of Georgia, and Georgia.gov, which is really an online portal to all of the government-related services in the state, they've been able to, by shifting to Acquia Platform, not only centralize their websites and centralize the user experience for their customers or their citizens, but they've been able to save massive amounts of money and reduce the total cost for operating on the web. And on the right, Maxim, the publication, has also reduced its cost in a big way, moving from an older solution to the Acquia Platform. Those are some examples of transformation in action, but now I'll pass over to my friends at CI&T, who are really going to dive into 3 great use cases of projects that they've worked on with Acquia that have brought customers around the world into a great new state with digital experience.
Thank you, David. So we brought 3 digital transformation cases for you today. First one is a multi-asset global platform for a very famous brand. Then we'll talk about a recent launch of e-commerce case for Lush Japan. And the third one is the Fortune 100 flagship relaunch for a pharma giant. So the global digital platform. Back in 2009, we were facing this reality. Flight had 10 people to manage 35 markets with 57 different languages. They wanted to invest in a platform that would reach several different markets, maximizing ROI. They aimed for stellar user experience with fresh, appealing content and great analytics insight. And we had a lot of content management challenges. We really needed to decouple platform code and content to improve customer experience and solving a very slow time to market. So what we did, we created a platform that started in the UK as a Drupal distribution. We're using existing modules to speed up time to market and reduce cost. We used a multi-site approach to evolve the platform and improve collaboration between countries. Countries with less budget, for example, could deploy solutions with minor changes, tapping into existing assets developed by other countries. The flexibility was greatly enhanced. A variety of needs provided more creative solutions that are being leveraged across different brands. So Salesforce.com connectors, online content review, multi-step workflow approval, and also custom modules routed out specific needs for individual sites. So we have not only reusability, but also flexibility. The complete base site is in English, to easily spin up a new site to be translated to dozens of different languages, from French to sites using Arabic, right to left, Chinese characters. And here are some of the achievements. We have almost 90 different sites in Drupal 7, encompassing a business-to-consumer platform, a business-to-business platform, and a training engagement platform. We incurred in 10% year-over-year cost reduction in project and maintenance engagements, and we had an incredible time-to-market improvement. We can now spin up a new country in 2 days compared to 11 days previously on the old platform. this platform is alive, it keeps evolving, and the client is very pleased with the outcome. So great case here. Jacobi, please take over for the Lush case.
Thank you, Felipe Brito. I'd like to switch gears a bit, guys, and I would like to share now an interesting and quite recent case where customer experience was atop any other strategy driver. And the case for Lush, more specifically on the Japanese division rollout, where content and commerce getting together was definitely key to kick off the digital transformation. Lush, for those of you that may not know it, it's a global cosmetic retailer with a reach of almost 1,000 stores in more than 50 countries. What excites me the most as a company are Lush's core values. Besides producing handmade products, the company is against animal testing, choosing to use volunteers instead. It also refuses to use any sort of animal byproduct, making Lush products 100% vegetarian. But that extremely strong brand personality and you may even say attitude was only felt on their physical stores. So in 2013, Lush's leadership went on a journey for their digital transformation. It started in the headquarters in UK and was first delivered earlier this year. Like I said, a key driver of that strategy was to bring the store experience online. So you can see here that's the Lush UK website and also a picture of one of their stores. So they wanted to make sure that content and purchase wouldn't be isolated from each other. I'm not sure if you have ever been to a Lush store. It's definitely different from or different than a traditional store, and I believe the website is now much more loyal to that sensation that you have when you go to the store. It's almost like blurring the digital and physical world. Apart from that goal, there were also intended ramifications though. One of them was the platform itself. Drupal and Acquia have been the choice for UK, but moreover, the rollout of the experience to other markets was a must-have. Thus, a Lush Drupal distribution was created, or in other words, a platform that could be reused for other countries' rollout. Then comes Lush Japan. Earlier this year, Lush Japan had already signaled that they would need to revamp their e-commerce experience. So it was a perfect match to be one of the first rollouts after UK and leverage the platform just built. Lush Japan was in need of a big makeover. Content and purchase experience were not connected, so this is a snapshot of their old website. There wasn't a smooth link with social media. It was not mobile accessible, was not mobile responsive. There was no responsive design implemented, and a custom and old content management platform was a block really for the business expansion. So what were the results and initially actually the goals and drivers, right? So by the end of July, the project got started. Like I said, Acquia was already involved with Lush, and CI&T joined to support with our local Japanese Drupal and business expertise. Also, a local creative agency and Lush IT groups and partners were engaged. Well, at a high level, those goals involved reusing the distribution, the platform built in the UK, Japanese requirements customization. So there were some elements on the Japanese shopping experience that couldn't be missed on the new site, such as points management or exchanging points for products. Obviously, translation and visual adjustments along with user data set migration, right? So moving from existing sites, also make sure that you move the data set. And a key driver to continue using the existing order management system in the back end. And finally, with lots of projects out there, we had a very strong timeline to launching time for the holiday season this year, so which was basically early October. So the site went live in just mid of October, less than 2 months ago. Right now, it's too early for metrics or numbers, but we can easily see the activity on the website has changed, as well as the social channels for Lush Japan since we launched. But a fundamental part of Lush strategy that started in the UK and was rolled out to Japan, like I said before, was the rendezvous of commerce and content, where social interaction, product reviews, ingredients information, and background is smoothly permeate the shopping experience. Oh, sorry, just a little glitch. Okay, and another very interesting concept that was launched in Lush UK and rolled out to Lush Japan is Lush Kitchen. To me, is a mix of a lab as well as a kitchen. A kitchen where, as you can easily see on their website, but small batches of items are made every day. So they do different products every day. And once they sell it, it's gone. They don't have that anymore. The menu is changed daily with products available for a maximum of 21 days. Classics and exclusive products are only available in that kitchen section in the website, as well as pre-release products are also released there first. And you can order a kitchen product and you will receive it as soon as it's made, right? So it's kind of the kitchen feeling. And the lab perception, the lab perspective is, think about the Lush product developers, product team, so they can use this platform, this solution, as a testing platform to release new products. So if that experiment worked well, they can try and make as part of the main line, the streamline or the main streamline for the products. So this is a very interesting aspect of the solution, and of course, a platform to give you that flexibility was key. So here you can see some screenshots of the website, so mobile, responsive, but in that case was out of the box because it was one of the main features of the Lush UK distribution. So very straightforward. Another aspect that was interesting of the user experience, I mean, we often, of course, we'll think about the customer experience first, but in this case, it was to consider the experience of the team responsible for the content and the commerce flow. So the back office, right, who is managing the content, they gotta have a good experience. So a platform that provides such customization and flexibility was fundamental. And this is often overlooked in some strategies. Usually we just think about that later or once you are on the operation mode after you went live. But then for this one, of course, let's start in the beginning considering that. Just a few more screenshots of the back office. So thinking that perspective or considering that aspect as well, it's particularly important when you're rolling out in a different market, especially within the organization itself, the teams that are going to be using that. Like I said, because usually you find barriers that can exist or not, but they might be there when you're rolling out a solution that was built somewhere else, right? So we're talking about a solution built in UK and we're rolling out to Japan. So there will be, might be, or maybe some restrictions there. So you got to think about who's going to be using as well. And finally, an important decision on Lush's case was the distribution strategy and its capability to integrate with market-specific solutions. In this example, their order management system. Although Drupal as a platform can potentially cover most aspects or if not all aspects of a commerce solution, it's often critical to be able to leverage as an option an integration with existing systems. And Drupal by nature has enough flexibility to integrate with any solution that follow open standards. And again, only a flexible solution can accommodate that. So you got to think about that as well. So what are the main Lush Japan takeaways? So the rollout is quite fresh. Like I said, this is just less than 2 months ago that went live. But I believe that a few decisions taken before the project started on some of the challenges that we had were key to make this deliver a success. So the first one, time to market. Building from a Drupal distribution allowed Lush Japan to hit the ground running, right? So it's just, you had lots of features already implemented. It was just a matter of deciding what should be extended and what other customizations need to be done. But you had several features in place already. and connected to your brand as a global brand. Second, flexibility. Although there was this foundation, this set of features, the solution should be able to provide easy localization for that specific market, also be extensible, provide extensibility and integration mechanisms, as I said before. Third, have what is perceived and really executed as one single team. So imagine the situation, Lush UK with their partners in UK, and then you bring Japan into the scene. So relying on a strong partners ecosystem was also paramount, both for vendors as well as the organization group. So the IT group within Lush Japan, their other partners for their backend systems, along with an agile communication and effective toolbox. So how we make that happen? So as you guys know, we have the time zone, have language barriers. So how we can make it happen? So first is to consider the right partners in the region, teams also on the ground, so like CI&T with our Japanese team closer to that market. And lastly, technology. For everything I said before throughout these few slides, Drupal was a critical success factor, allowing a smooth implementation also on the Japanese platform. And with that, I'll pass it back to Felipe so he can tell us another story on a incredible launch for a large organization. Go ahead, Felipe.
Thank you, Felipe Rubin. So this third case talks about a massive undertaking, Fortune 100 flagship website relaunch. And this was the reality that the company had. So 5 million users per year, more than 1,700 pages, legacy old platform with a load time of more than 8 seconds, not mobile optimized at all. At least 2 weeks for a simple content change, so content entangled with code. The entire application needed to be compiled for any change regardless of being code or content. There were offline approvals for content change and updated layouts, content promotion through different environments. It was very cumbersome. And there was also this application mindset, this IT mindset, and not a portal mindset to communicate and engage with audiences. And our challenge was to enable this flagship website for all mobile devices and to migrate it to a much more sustainable platform. And here's what we did. The project took 5 months from inception to production, was launched slightly ahead of time. The users were very pleased with the site that now uses Drupal and can have online content preview and approval. The overall performance of the site improved 35%. The time to create content was cut in more than half with inline and individual content editing. We went from a desktop version rather than a mobile device to a truly responsive solution for tablets, phones, desktops. And here are more improvements. We had 50% average increase in duration of visits. Not only end customers, but users now have a much more pleasant navigation and experience, but content managers can approve content using their mobile phones as well. And we also have best-in-class analytics with fully visibility of every aspect of user behavior. Hosted in Acquia, the company is saving a lot in terms of hosting costs and licensing. And the site has virtually no downtime, a huge improvement compared to the previous reality where we needed to choose weekends to push new versions into production. Also now we have elastic upsizing for traffic spikes. And in the previous reality, it could take us months for a capacity increase. And the payback of the entire project happened in less than 1 year after the project went live. So it was truly a great outcome for this company, and we are very pleased with the results. Back to you, David.
Excellent. Well, thanks for those great examples of really transformation action. I think that, even though they're disparate types of stories and disparate types of companies, the idea of using a platform for next generation advances with digital and for creating greater experiences for your customers really transcends and weaves through all of those stories. And an organization like CI&T building on Acquia platform is a great recipe for success. I'll talk briefly about the Acquia platform. I know we've mentioned it at the start and throughout the presentation, but to familiarize you with it, if you haven't taken a look very briefly, Acquia platform is comprised of what you see here in the middle, content, commerce, and community, driven by Drupal. We like to, however, on top of that, build proprietary solutions around we call Acquia Lift and similar products that help to drive engagement with your users. So the idea of not just creating singular use cases and singular sets of content or experiences, but personalize your content, being able to test new content or test content ideas, and then personalize the content to your users based on who they are, what they're doing with your sites and interacting with your brand. And then all of this living on a digital experience cloud, whereby management of the actual infrastructure is handled by Acquia, giving you the time to really focus on the things that matter from building great digital experiences, managing great content experiences or commerce experiences, and running a great website and a digital business overall. It takes a lot to succeed, and I think through my years of both at Forrester and with digital agency and elsewhere, there are many ways to get to successful outcomes. And I think one of the bigger shifts that we've seen in the past couple of years and really is important to consider as you go down this path is how and who you're making this change inside your organization. Technology is fantastic, and technology can do a lot of things, but without organizational readiness and the understanding of what you're about to go through or what you are going through with a shift to digital, without preparing for that the right way and thinking of it in the right way, you may not achieve the success you think you will achieve. What this shows right now is a new way of thinking that I think is important as you go into a new initiative like this. On the left really is the traits and the behaviors of traditional IT, which often has been the driver or the starting point for a lot of these initiatives. That hasn't always been wrong or bad, but it has been different, meaning IT traditionally has done a lot for the organization going back decades. They've brought new technology and new systems into play to help the business run and to scale. Often these things, though, are back office centric. They're focused on running the guts of the business, perhaps ERP or supply chain systems or certainly other systems that might manage the day-to-day operations of a business or how you make or do things, not always, though, focused on the customer-facing aspects of the business, especially in the age of digital where you're thinking websites, mobile, social, or commerce, or other touch points where you're trying to get out message or you're trying to engage or provide new digital services. So what we see is a shift having to happen inside organizations that want to be successful, moving from traditional IT-centric approaches to more of what we're calling business technology approaches. The idea of, in the old way of IT, traditional way of living in a silo can't happen today. You've got to work across discipline, across teams to bring new technology and make it successful in the organization. So integrating teams with a shared platform or shared solution that everybody can get behind, both technologically as well as organizationally and process-wise, whether it's for marketers or for others who are involved in that, delivering that content and experience. Companies have to change, too, in how they approach this from a speed perspective, being more agile and fast rather than slow and disciplined in the traditional IT sense. And also thinking, and certainly at Acquia, as we build on Drupal and our big open source advocates, the idea of thinking open source and how open source as a paradigm can shift the way you think about your software rather than being locked in to a proprietary vendor solution. The idea of moving to an open source platform gives you all kinds of new abilities, certainly the benefit of this focused innovation that's happened across a very large community of contributors to a core platform. Yet with Acquia, the bulletproofness of having a commercial entity that's supporting your site, supporting best practices, helping you get the most out of that platform, and certainly scaling as you grow as a business or as your needs grow. And then from the idea of being on-premise, companies everywhere are rethinking where their software is being deployed. And the move to the cloud is seen every day as, certainly from a cost savings perspective and the effort to maintain systems is the way that most organizations we talk to are trying to move to today. And certainly in my background, both as analyst and as at agency, working with organizations to figure out a better model for deploying digital experience and web content management technologies. Moving to the cloud is the answer for a lot of these organizations. And the companies you saw here are all doing that. So what will it take to succeed beyond that? I think, companies need to embrace fundamentally that digital is the future for the success of their business. It's where their customers are. It's where they have to be to meet the needs of their customers. Customers are more empowered today. They're smarter. They have more access to information and data than they ever have, and to each other through social media channels. The idea of interacting with you as a brand is just another extension of their online or digital life. They expect you to be there when and where they are. And if you're not there, they're not going to find you. They will find somebody else. There's also from great ideas from Forrester in terms of the market imperatives in this so-called age of the customer. 4 fundamentals that companies need to adopt, or at least think about how they're going to plan for these as they move forward. Thinking about big data. Data is going to be king as we move forward. Using data about your customers or about certainly your traffic in the phrase of thinking about websites, but your customers themselves. You can have identifiable information about your customers that you can then use to improve their experience personally and give them something that they might not have expected. Transforming the customer experience from top to bottom. This includes certainly digital. It includes offline too, perhaps linking your call centers to the online world so that people throughout your organization understand what that customer experience is and understand how they can best serve the customer at their exact moment of need through the channel that they choose to interact with you. The other 2 is embracing this idea that we're moving to a mobile world, and most customers, their first touch point with you may be mobile. So thinking mobile first as you redesign or plan for revamping of your online presence. Mobile must take center stage. And then finally, accelerating your digital business. I think soon we're going to see this simply be accelerate your business. I think digital is simply part of the wallpaper now. It's part of the everyday life of companies. And the sooner you get over that hump inside your organization, thinking that it's different from your everyday business, the faster you can start to achieve greater success because everyone will understand the direction you're moving in. So in summary, we've got several things, 5 things that you really need to do to start down this path or use these ideas to improve what you're doing already. Number 1, you've got to be obsessed with customer centricity, putting the customer in the middle of your business. You're no longer in charge. The customer is. They expect you to be where they are when they want you to be there. They want information, they want access, they want service, and they want support at all the touch points that you might be able to give it to them, and they want it now. So plan and build for this reality, thinking platform-wise, thinking for a platform that will grow with you and let you address all of those channels globally, language-wise, device-wise, channel-wise. All of those things matter. This is what your customers want. Second is focusing on unified brand experiences over what we'll call scattered experiences or disjointed experiences. Great example in Lush of creating commerce-related sites that actually reflect the brand and reflect the story of the brand, so that the customer experiences content and commerce jointly as a singular experience as they visit Lush. Thirdly is bringing partners like CI&T into the process that can collaborate and challenge you on your strategy. Certainly they bring ideas and wealth of experience, years of having done this, and they also challenge your strategy and bring new ideas to the table and make sure that what you're going to do is the right way to do it, both strategically and certainly technologically. Finally, fourth, choosing a solution, not a platform. Let me rephrase that. Choosing a solution on the platform, not just a product that embraces open source and keeps up with this digital evolution. I make a big distinction here between product and platform because I think it's key to the evolution of the web content management market in the past several years. It wasn't long ago that companies who were looking to redesign their website, because that's what they did every 3 or 4 years, said, I need a new CMS because my CMS isn't working. Well, that was a product idea, product-centric way of thinking. Grab a product, implement it, and off they go. Today, though, the platform is what rules, really a platform for digital business, digital growth. The idea of running websites, mobile experiences, social commerce, all has to be part of the platform thinking that you're doing as you're planning your next generation online. So while a CMS product may do some of what you're thinking, a platform gives you more flexibility and more room for growth and more runway to bring your maturity, to grow on that maturity curve and to get smarter and better at what you're doing and to evolve over time. And finally, and this is very important, is thinking about implementing an agile practice for increased communication and feedback, especially across different markets. And frankly, I'd almost summarize this as just be more agile. Speed matters. The ability to move fast is an organizational problem that's inhibited a lot of growth of digital. It's also been a technical problem with systems that either don't serve the people that they're meant to serve, they're hard to use, they don't integrate well with the rest of the infrastructure you might be using or the applications, and frankly, they just get in the way of business moving fast. And in this digital age, we all know that moving fast is critical to success. So thinking in an agile way is really an organizational mind shift. It can be enabled by the right technology and the right platform. So I'd certainly encourage you to think that way. Thank you. At this point, we'd love to hear what you have to say, hear any questions you might have, and we'll stay on the line for a few minutes and take any questions from the audience. Hannah?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, could you please ask them in the Q&A tab now? So we had a first question come in. What are the 3 main important things to remember as far as digital transformation is concerned?
I think that's a great question. It goes to what we were just talking about before, I think, and there's many priorities that you might have when you think about what is important for digital transformation. 3 that I'd add to this list, perhaps, is number 1, it's organization matters. Thinking about how your organization is going to operate, getting everybody behind the plan to improve your digital experience activities, and making sure that everyone's marching in the same direction is important. Number 2, which really relates to number 1, is technology is a big part of it, but it's not everything. Technology matters, your platform matters, but unless you've got number 1 and number 2 right, the organization, readiness, and the technology to align to that, you're not going to get very far. And number 3 could, many companies may have many different things on their mind when they think about, digital transformation. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. I think some of the most successful ideas in in digital transformation are coming from organizations that are new to markets. They're inventing new ways of doing business. They're inventing new business models. Uber is a great example and probably the most commonly cited one, but think about your business. How can you disrupt your market in a way that does it before your competitors do? Think about your business through a new lens. Think about it through the lens of the customer. What do they want? How can you better serve them? What are they asking for? And think about retooling in a way that matters most to them and using digital to do it. For CI&T, either of you folks, would you have any thoughts on this as well? And this would be some important to remember for digital transformation.
Go ahead, Felipe Rubin. I can always add later.
Sure. Yeah, I saw that there was also an extension of the same question, and I think I'd just like to add to what David said. So it's like the extension of the question is expecting business to drive the digital transformation or the IT? So which one comes first? And what I'm seeing, and just last week I was talking to a large telecom company in Brazil. There's a new role that is actually not that real, but it has it's coming out as a chief digital officer, right? Someone or a group that will be involved in both areas, both IT and business, that will help IT to stay out of the day-to-day problems and look ahead, look at what is available out there, what is coming out in the future as well, so they can help the planning, and as well as connected to the business and the marketing teams. So I'd like just to add that.
Yeah, and I also would like to add that if it's the CDO or if it's business technology, you need to have a champion. There are different structures and different ways to implement digital transformation in different companies. Companies are more federated, others are more centralized. What is really important is to implement this idea of enterprise agility, to have a champion that brings all the different teams to the table, that brings legal, that brings security, compliance, marketing teams all over the world, IT, enterprise architecture, to really drive the transformation and break the silos. If you have this, you're going to succeed.
Great, thanks. The next question is, you mentioned that it is important to think ahead, thinking about things that are on the horizon that might be emerging, the iPhone and how it changed things profoundly. What are you keeping an eye on right now to see how it emerges?
That's a great question. I think not so much in the device area I'm thinking, but one of the areas where I think is important is how data is being used to improve the customer experience. So it could apply to certainly devices like smartphones and how those people on smartphones or other devices get their content or experience delivered to them. But I think the overarching issue of data is going to take center stage in the next few months. Certainly it is now, but it's going to get bigger and bigger as companies realize there's value in the data that they have or value in the data they should be or could be collecting to make better, more personalized experiences happen. And it's not just personalization for the sake of doing personalization, but it's contextual personalization to the people who are visiting you, who are your customers, and doing it in a way that matters specifically to them. And not always just in a salesy marketing kind of way, but helping them through a life cycle of their journey with you as a customer. They see you as one thing, they'll look at you in one way, and you look at them in one way during a marketing process or a sales process, but there's a lot beyond that. How can you help them beyond the sales and marketing phase continue to be successful with you, whatever it is that you sell, that you do, that you provide, and how can they engage with you in a more personal way that matters to them? This idea of using data, I think, is going to underlie a lot of the growth and the progress that we see in digital experience in the next year or two.
CI&T? I echo that. CI&T is investing a lot in predictive analytics, personalization, and as David mentioned. I would also add the Internet of Things. We have created what we call the garage inside CI&T, where we really encourage the teams to play in a geeky way with technologies that are not mainstream yet, but are really going to shape the future of our solutions months or a couple of years from now. And it's great to see what they can implement. And we are also doing hackathons, internal, external, and with the community, and bringing clients in to use these devices to create brand new solutions and to ideate on what will be next. So predictive analytics and Internet of Things are my two ones.
Yeah, and just to add on top of that, I was going the same way. I mean, beyond personalization that Dave mentioned, at that level now with what Felipe mentioned about Internet of Things, and I think I like to mention again the Lush case where the goal was to have this blur between the physical store experience as well as the digital. So put on top of that Internet of Things that might be further down the road according to your industry, but it's definitely something to be looking at, as well as add contextual-driven personalization. There you have something that might be changing the next wave, or might be the next wave of digital transformation.
Excellent. I think there's another question here from one of our participants about how do we scan the environment for possible next practices, emerging trends, and things like that. Where do we look? I'll answer from my side. I think that I use many sources to keep up with what's going on from a technical market perspective as well as best practices. Certainly I talk every day, every week with customers, with partners, with other organizations that are doing digital transformation just like this. I also rely on, frankly, being an analyst, I respect the work of analysts like Forrester and like Gartner who are doing this every day as well, and I read a lot of what they have to say. It gives me a good sense of the direction of the market, direction of customers, what's going on, and keeps me up to date, I think, on what's happening. But frankly, there's also so much data and information available, online, whether it's blogs, thought leaders, and others. Certainly here at Acquia, we have a good collection of thought leaders who publish constantly on acquia.com around topics like digital transformation, not just technology, but ideas and best practices for moving forward. and our friends at CI&T do that as well. Guys, do you have any recommendations?
Well, apart from what you just said, David, yes, we pretty much do the same. But looking into it as a company, as a vendor, as CI&T, as we provide solutions, so I think it's strategic to have the right team. So you mentioned having thought leaders within the organization. So having myself and Felipe, for example, and people from our team. So having the right team together with you, the people that you know is excited about what's coming out there, it's willing to move and change. I think that's fundamental, the right guys on board. And I think putting on the customer perspective is to leverage that ecosystem. So our customers, CI&T's customers, they challenge us. So that's how our customers also tap into our knowledge. So they leverage our knowledge, our expertise to get up to date. So one of our customers, they frequently bring all of their partners, including CI&T, for some ideation sessions. So they expect us as part of our work with them to actually bring the knowledge, the expertise, everything that we're seeing, and help them with the trends. I think that's also important.
Guys, didn't leave a lot for me.
Great, thanks. I think we're at the top of the hour, so if anybody has any additional questions, please just email us and we'll get back to you. Again, slides and recording of the webinar will be posted to our site in the next 24 hours, and we'll also email you out a copy. A big thank you to David for joining us today and our friends at CI&T, and thanks everyone for joining us on the phone. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Great afternoon.